Hello, everyone, and welcome to this exciting deep dive session on love. I'm Shweta Nadig, a psychotherapist focusing mainly on building emotional resilience and healing trauma in adults. I also help people strengthen their relationships. Uh, I, I would like to begin with by telling something about love that I perceive. Love is something we all want but often experience very differently. So, today we are going to explore how understanding the language of love can change the way we connect with others and with ourselves. So, in this session, we're going to talk about the five love languages, which is a very simple yet powerful framework that explains how people express and experience love differently. Whether it is in a romantic relationship or in parenting, friendships, or even self care, understanding love languages can dramatically improve emotional connection. We have with us today Shilpa Mohite, a mindset coach and aspiring psychologist with a deep interest in human behavior, emotional patterns, and relationships. Her perspective brings a practical and psychologically grounded lens to today's discussion, helping us explore not just what love languages are, but why we develop certain preferences and how awareness can transform the way we relate to ourselves and others. A very warm welcome, Shilpa. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you so much for that introduction, Shweta. As a mindset coach, I often help clients to see their potential, gain clarity, and train their mind to move towards their goals. But I have learned over the time that focusing only on oneself is not always enough, especially in relationships, because real connection requires being aware, being curious, and willing to step into the other person's inner world. So, love languages are one of the simplest and very basic framework that I have found that can help people do exactly that.
I'm sure. But when I spoke about love languages, I was just thinking, I'm sure a lot of them will be wondering what we are actually referring to and why exactly love languages are important. So, could you throw some light on that in simple terms for our viewers to understand, Shilpa?
Yeah, sure. So, love languages are primary ways in which we all people, all human beings, give and receive love. As simple as that. Dr. Gary
Mm.
Chapman identified five of them. So he was a family therapist and he had a lot of couples who used to come for counseling. And over the years, he kept thinking that there is some pattern. And he could find that pattern by putting there what was the missing part or what was that they were looking at in five main areas. Okay. The problem is we often express love in our own love language. The way I feel love, I would like to give the love, not the other person's.
Yes.
And it is like, to take a simple analogy, it is like a Japanese man talking to an Indian man without having a common language or understanding each other's language. So, of course, you can imagine a very huge communication gap there. Similarly, when we cannot talk our partner's love language or they cannot understand ours, there is an emotional gap that happens. Something like you must have heard couples saying, like one person says, I do so much for you. And someone says that, but you never say anything nice to me. So they both are, you can see here that both are caring. They both have that care for each other. But what is the problem? The problem is they have different love languages which are not being met. So, understanding these love languages
Yes.
can
Yes.
reduce lots of misunderstanding, resentment, and even emotional distance can be reduced if you just understand this concept.
Definitely. Definitely. I believe there are five main and basic love languages, although I have seen on the internet now people are adding more. But according to Gary Chapman, can you briefly explain the five love languages?
Yes. So, in no order of preference or importance, let's go. First is words of affirmation. So, words of affirmation is feeling loved through verbal appreciation. So, it can be as simple as I love you, or you look good today. Yeah. Or that's a very nice thing you did. When you tell your kids, even that is something nice thing you did, actually giving that affirmation. You are giving words of affirmation to that person, making them feel good.
Yes.
So that is the first one which we most of the times use, and that is highly, I would say, dependent on the language. Okay. The next one is
Yes.
act of service. So people say that actions speak louder than words, and for people having this love language, it really does. So all
Okay.
these small helpful actions that your partner does for you or you do for the partner, that is basically act of
Mhm.
service. As simple as something like, if somebody is tired by some work, giving a glass of water, that can be just a
Mm.
small act of service. Or just making some nice breakfast on a special day, that can be an act of service. So all these things are act of services where you make your partner's life a little easier. You help them a little bit. Okay, and this is not something like a basic thing, basic, I mean, because normally husbands might say to housewives that I'm doing work outside and that is act of service. No, after that, when you come back to the wife, what is that one small thing that you do for her? That is act of service. Now, the third one is
Mm.
receiving gifts. Who doesn't like gifts, right? But these people having this particular love language, they love gifts. They love surprises. They feel that they heard through these things. They feel they noticed through these things. I have even seen people having this love language, keeping the wrapping paper along with the gift. So that is very funny that even the wrapping paper, how you wrap the gift matters. The thoughtfulness matters. So gift doesn't mean that I have to get a diamond necklace. As simple as somebody going on a walk, getting a nice flower from a garden and offering it to your wife, that can be a gift in itself. So gift is the thought mainly behind the gift. Okay. Um, Going to the, I think, fourth one. We are on fourth one. So fourth one is quality time. Quality time is undivided attention and presence. Now, when I say undivided attention and presence, that does not mean both people are on the laptop or on the phone or watching TV and sitting on a couch. That doesn't mean they have to
Mm.
have each other's undivided attention, right? So, again, one can be really creative about this. You can go on walk with your husband or spouse, kids, and that can be the time that you spend together for that particular this thing without any other distractions or any other devices rather. So that is quality time. And the last one is physical touch. So physical touch, not in a extremely sexual way, but physical touch is very, very important. And that's why when we see kids, small kids crying, we pick them up, right? The touch. So even before all these languages, four languages that we spoke about, physical touch is the first language a human learns, actually, because through touch, the baby understands the love. Through touch, they understand the world around them. So physical touch is
Mm.
emotional connection through good touch. It can be just holding hands, it can be just brush on the hair, or it can be just hugging. Okay, so it can be snuggling. So it can be any of these where the touch part is involved. Everyone has one primary language, though we might think that, oh, we like all of them, but everyone will definitely have one primary and possibly one secondary language. So that is their
Mhm.
main. You can look at primary like it's a non-negotiable. So if that is not fulfilled,
Mm.
they feel I'm not loved. Yeah.
Mm. Mm. Got it. Got it. And do you think these languages shape our day-to-day communication and connection, and how they influence the way we express care in our everyday situations? Do you think it matters?
Of course it does. And it does to a very day-to-day matters. Like something like, for example, there was a couple who used to, the husband used to get up earlier than the wife, would make the
Mm-hmm.
breakfast, would do all the small things in the house, would mow the lawn, would probably clean the dishes, and goes to work, comes back, then again makes the bed and everything. So he's really giving all his act of services to the wife. But the wife is still not
Mm-hmm.
happy because she says that you keep doing all these things, you don't have time for me, right? So she is
God.
looking for that quality time, and he is giving, which is something which is act of service. There is a mismatch. So yeah, something like this. Or in case of even children sometimes they seek hugs. There are some kids which are really touch oriented. You will see that these kids, when their parents come back from home and they open the door, they'll go and hug them. Okay, so that is the touch. And if you try to communicate with the kid back in the way that they like, then probably whatever you want to say will be conveyed properly. But what people do, what parents do, they advise. So that is a, again, words or words of appreciations is something that parents think that they can give to the kids, but the kids actually are looking for touch. So sometimes it's not like not all kids, of course, but yeah. And yeah, so like you can see in daily life that, for like, even my example, for that matter, like I believe that acts of services is my highest priority. So even if my husband tells me I love you 10 times a day, I'm not going to feel it, because I'm going to say, show it in action. I don't believe your words. Yeah. So in every small events, you will see these things happening. One has to understand that all the conflicts, whenever there are two humans are involved in it, all the conflicts are not really about love. They're actually about these unmet emotional needs. That is a at base of it, at base of any conflict.
Now, I like that. It is not just about love, but how they are not met.
That's
So, um, not all the time will people get their emotional needs met, and
right.
it doesn't happen for everyone also. So, how do you think it might show up in everyday interactions between the uh, people involved?
Yeah. So unfortunately, not all of us are aware and equally having that empathy to understand each other's language, right? And that's being human again. So that's okay. But how you can see these things happening in your day, I mean, in your life, is something like this. If your primary language, love language, is words of affirmation, let's start with the first one. So if that is not
Mm,
met, then you might feel unappreciated, or you might feel invisible, or you might feel taken for granted. Okay, so like, for example, if I
mm,
cook meal and my language is love language is words of affirmation, and if the husband just enjoys that meal and doesn't say that this was nice, doesn't I feel invisible. I feel unappreciated. It might happen when these needs are not met, or these affirmations are not done. Then these people might seek validation. They might become overly sensitive to the tone. So when, because the words are not spoken frequently, when they are spoken, the tone matters to them a lot. So the same thing, even a little high tone, low tone, they will be able to pick that up. And they can't handle
mm,
silence. Of course, they need words. They are people with words, so they really can't handle silence, because it really troubles them. It makes them too uncomfortable, right? And you will listen to people with this kind of a love language always saying that you never acknowledge me, or you shut me down. So if your partner says that to you, then yes, words of affirmation is their primary language, which is not being met, so something needs to be done there. And if this happens over the
mm,
years, like as a child, if this starts and goes on for a long time, then there is an inner belief that can form, which is I don't matter. So that is about
mm,
words of affirmation. Coming to the act of service, when
mhm,
that is unmet, that they feel unsupported, or they feel overburdened, or alone in responsibilities. So you'll end up saying something like, I do everything alone. I have to take care of everything. So when that happens, that means their act of service love language is probably unmet. They might show
mm,
exhaustion, they might show overfunctioning at times, or might show resentment. And inner belief is again the belief that might get formed is, I have to handle everything on my own, or I have to do it alone. So they
mm,
are really, they don't seek help easily, because
right.
believe that help is not going to come. Then nobody's going to help me.
Mm,
Nobody's going to do anything for me. So that is again a bad,
mm,
I would say, belief that might get rooted into you and into your inner mind, which might affect life as well. Coming to the next one is receiving gifts. Yeah.
mm,
So we might say that, okay, gift, if you don't get gift, what's a big deal in that? But people with this primary language, they really love gifts. And again, as I said earlier, the cost of the gift doesn't matter. It need not be very expensive.
mm,
But if nothing is given to them, then they feel forgotten.
mm,
They feel not valued or emotionally overlooked. Like, it was my birthday, you should have remembered. Yeah, like that. So they may show hurt around special occasions like birthdays or Diwali or Christmas, whatever occasions they are. They expect a little token of love from their loved one, and they might compare with others. Like, see, that person got that, that person got that. So next time your wife says this, guys, then it is not really the comparison. It is just asking for a little attention by giving a small token of gift. They are not looking for diamonds, don't worry. And the inner belief that forms, if this is not again followed up or taken care of, is I'm not important enough to be remembered. So again, there is a kind of an invisible kind of a feeling that develops. The next is quality time. When this particular need is not given or this love language is not spoken enough, then people might feel disconnected. So they might feel lonely.
Mm,
In even when they're in relationships, they really can't connect themselves in the relationship. They feel secondary nowadays because of all these devices and so much screen time that we all are going with. They really feel our people around us, they feel secondary to devices. So devices come first and then me. So that is a issue. They might show clinginess if that happens over time. They might show clinginess, emotional withdrawal. They might complain about the partner's distraction or even create just
mm,
conflict just like that out of nowhere, that you said this 10,000 years back and I want to fight about it out of just a need of getting that attention. That if you want, fight with me, but look at me and talk to me and give me that attention. That kind of a issue can be there. The belief again, if this is not done for a long time, the belief can be I'm not a priority. So that I'm not a priority kind of a belief can again limit all your life and all your decisions. It can limit your confidence. So again, that's a bad belief to have, and that can get rooted. Then the next is the last one is physical touch. Now, physical touch, when that particular love language is not spoken enough, people might feel unwanted or emotionally
mm,
unsafe or rejected. Yeah, so like somebody doesn't touch me, does that means there is something wrong with me? Or so I don't, they don't like me. That kind of a thing might come. It can be as simple
mm.
as hugging in public for couples. So
Right.
if
Mm,
in a couple, if one partner has a love language of physical touch, they would love to hug in people public. They would love to do this PDA kind of thing. And if the other person is like a little introverted kind of a thing, and they don't do that in public, that can also give them a lot of hurt. So again, this can
right.
generate a belief of I'm not desirable or I'm not lovable. So that
Mhm,
can happen. And yeah, so people don't become difficult actually, I feel that they become
mm,
deprived of love.
mm.
So when your
Oh, that's so
partner is,
nice.
yeah, when your partner is be acting difficult, it's actually some unmet love language, which is most likely showing up as anger or coldness or nagging or detachment. All these things, all underneath this is a longing to be loved and emotionally fed. And before
Mm,
we go ahead, there is a very good metaphor that Gary Chapman tells in his book. When you talk about love languages, your emotional needs are like an emotional tank, like a fuel tank.
mm,
Okay. And you and
mm,
your partner both have these tanks. So when the tank is full, the relationship is thriving. You can go on a long drive, you can decide where to go, you can take decisions, change directions. And that is only possible if your tank is full. But if the tank
mm.
is empty, an empty tank takes you absolutely nowhere. And then the conflicts start piling up and people start growing apart, unfortunately.
Mm. That is such a beautiful comparison. The
Yeah.
metaphor you just mentioned about how Dr. Gary Chapman talks about emotional tank being full. How, according to you, Shilpa, can you ensure that your partner's emotional tank is full?
Okay. So a simple thing is first you should know your partner's love language and then do at least one act that satisfies their love language, let's say every week or so. Now,
Mm,
if the tank is completely empty now, you have a really good amount of distance between you two, emotional distance, then keep at it. It might take a little time, it might take a little more effort, and somehow consistent acts, if you continue to do, believe me, one day will come when you start feeling that tank bit by bit, and the tank will be full. And not always it's easy, it's pretty difficult at times, because if as a child growing up, if I have not heard words of affirmations, then it will be difficult for me to give them. But it's not impossible. So you can learn, and you can learn to communicate about your language. Be consistent, be curious, be patient. And I mean, love is not just a feeling, right? I think it's a skill. So we feel that like I felt love, that is not just a felt love. You have to put in a lot of
Mm,
effort, and it's a skill that you can develop like any other language.
mm, I'm sure. But now that you're talking about what are the love languages and how we can keep our partners or whoever in the relationship, how to keep their emotional tanks full and keep them happy and stuff. How do you know what is their love language? How do you identify a person's love language?
It's actually easier than thought. Maybe we might think that this will take a lot of quiz and surveys and this and that, but it's actually pretty easy to find your love language as well as your partner's. So to find out your love language, for example, and all viewers can do this with me, ask yourself, what hurts me the most? What is it that is missing? How
Mm,
I naturally show love, not after a thought, but naturally, how do I show love? What do I complain about repeatedly? Something that bugs me all the time. What makes me deeply feel valued? So, if you find these questions, you will get to that strongest emotional reaction, which normally points to your love language, right? So, same thing goes for your partner as well. What are they mostly complaining about? Be open, be curious, ask them about their love language. So, before we move forward, Shweta, can you tell me what is your love language?
good question. Now I have to ponder. I think one is quality time.
Yeah.
I'm not sure which one is the primary and which is the secondary, but quality time and I think acts of service. Yes.
Yes, that's a great one. So, again, if communication is something that you're struggling with right now with your partner and you don't know what's their love language and they are not ready to show you exactly their path, then you can go to a website called fivelovelanguages.com, Gary Chapman's website, and there is a free quiz there. So, you can find out. So, I would say that since we are recording this close to the Valentine's Day, and love is in the air, let's say, and it is not just between the couples but to everyone in the family, I think you should take this quiz, find out your love language and start speaking that language to each other. you know our habits and beliefs and comfort zones play a role. It will be sometimes difficult to express, but again, as I said, it's a skill and one can definitely develop.
Yeah. It's so
What?
beautifully told. I'm sure this is going to be the homework for the next couple of days. You find out your partner's love language, use ways of communicating that starting Valentine's Day. Make a promise to yourself. I'm sure it'll bring a lot of positive changes to the relationship.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And can you think of, like, it is not just about Valentine's Day when we talk about mostly the romantic kind of a love. But what do you think? Like, can these love languages be applied to outside just a romance or romantic relationship?
Oh, no, no. We are recording this during Valentine's Day, so we took that as focus. But love languages are applicable in many, many relationships, be it parent-child, be it your in friendships with your colleagues. It makes a difference in every relationship per se. They are spoken in context of romantic relationships, but it goes beyond romance also. Uh, when we begin to understand love languages, we start understanding emotional needs, and that changes the quality of every relationship in our lives. For example, if I take parenting, because I did start off my practice focusing on parent child relationship because that matters so much to me. I have
Mm.
a young child, so it started from there. And every child feels loved differently. How they express, how they receive and understand, everything makes a difference in each child is very different, just like how every individual is different. Some children feel secure through quality time and undivided attention, and others need physical affection. It could be hug, any kind of touch that you mentioned as also. And some feel most seen when their efforts are acknowledged with words of affirmation again.
Mm.
So when we tune into a child's emotional language, we reduce the misunderstandings, and we can connect better to guide them. I read beautiful quote sometime, I don't remember exactly where: without connection you can't make correction. That hit me so well. And to connect, you need to speak in their love language. Only
Mm.
then will they accept whatever you're telling, and be able to go the way you're guiding them. That makes a difference in a child's life. And
Absolutely.
now coming to the workplace, not everyone feels valued in the same way. So some
Mm.
people thrive on appreciation and some verbal recognition, all this that you have mentioned. Some of them feel supported when you step in to help, when there is a lot of pressure. Let's say there is a deadline a person is working on, so you just step in and ask, do you need any help, or can I do this work for you? That, for some, the trust and autonomy speak louder than praise. So that understanding builds stronger teams and reduces the burnout also for working people in a workplace. When I was talking about, now coming to friendships, one friend express love by constantly checking in: are you okay, how are you doing, what's up, how's life, things like that. And another may show up physically when it
Mm.
matters. They will land up at your doorstep: I felt like seeing you, so I'm here. Someone else may also offer practical help. So when we are able to recognize these differences in how each and everyone expresses and how they want to be loved, we stop personalizing what was never a neglect, just a different emotional language. So that is very important. And then in self love, now love language can be also applied to love yourself, which is at the top priority, which should be the top priority for everyone. Because if you are thinking, oh, okay, that person is shopping maybe, and for them that might be the love language. They want to present something to themselves, a gift to themselves is what makes the difference in their lives. But for somebody it might just be spending time with friends. It could just be going out for a coffee. It could be anything. So what you want to do that makes you feel good, this is one place that is very frequently overlooked. And you need to question yourself: how do I make myself feel good? You should not be dependent on other people to make you happy. I always tell this to everyone: your happiness is what is within you. Do not expect it from any external sources. First learn to love yourself, keep yourself happy. So I think some people want those small rewards. I will add here that I love hanging out with friends. I'm a very social person. I love going out with friends. It could be 5 minutes, a tea conversation, or it could be over a phone call, or inviting them home. And I do love food, so a lot of my love language revolves around food. So that is how I connect with people. And so knowing your own love language helps nurture yourself intentionally instead of waiting for others to meet your needs. So if you're waiting for other people to praise you, praise yourself first. That is where it starts, right? So now that's why all this affirmations, morning affirmations and things like that are going on, because that is a way of reassuring to
Mm.
yourself what you believe you want to be. So,
Absolutely.
at its core, understanding love languages strengthens emotional intelligence overall. It teaches us to move beyond assumption and into awareness.
Mm.
Beyond meaning, why aren't they loving me the way I want to? And awareness into meaning, how do they express love and how do I? So, when you are able to differentiate this, it can completely transform connections between people. But I'm sure, because a lot of people don't know about these love languages,
Yeah.
about themselves and others, there are a lot of um, failures and what do you say, um, disadvantages and conflicts that
Yeah.
are arising in relationships. What, according to you, Shilpa, because you are a relationship counselor, what according to you are the common mistakes that people are making?
Sure. So, as you rightly said, it's a very simple framework, but many people are not aware, and that awareness itself brings a lot of correction, I would say, and connection, as you rightly said. So, assuming everyone feels the way we love. So, I'm assuming everyone feels the love the way we do. And this is most common actually in the parent child that you just were talking about. Basically, people say that we love our children, but are children feeling loved? Are they feeling loved? That is very important. So, similarly, even in couples, if I'm doing something to love my husband, husband needs to get receive that love in that particular way. So it's very important to know the person's love language and then give love in that. So because ultimately our aim is to make the other person feel loved, so that should happen in their language, not in your language. So don't assume,
Yeah.
ask. That is first mistake that people do, they assume. The second mistake that people do is they give only when they feel appreciated. So love
Mm.
starts sounding like, I will give you, I love you, you have to validate, and then I will continue, right? Instead of
Very
that,
conditional.
yeah, instead of that, it should happen something like, I give you because this aligns with who I choose to be. If I'm
Mm.
saying I love you, that means that this aligns with my feelings for you. It need not be I'm saying love you two times, three times, you have to give me back or you have to appreciate. No, it's not like that. It's not a give and take, it's mainly give. And third will be probably the mistake will be that labeling partners as ungrateful instead of being curious of why they do that. So when
Mm.
someone is giving effort, especially their own in their own love language. So if my husband has a words of affirmation as a love language, I just told you an example some time back, and if he's telling me love you or some nice words or praising me throughout the day, instead of saying that this doesn't fit my love language and just rejecting it, probably it needs to be handled a little more carefully, and you should not hurting the person by rejecting it. So that is another thing. So be a little more patient with that. Then fourth is ignoring our own emotional needs. And that you covered very beautifully, that if your cup is not filled, you're not going to be able to pour into anyone's cup. So you need to know your love language, and you need to make sure that you also love yourself in that way as well. Very rightly said already by you, so I won't repeat it here. And the last one probably is using love language as a demand. Now, after listening to this discussion, people are going to definitely go back and saying that my love language is quality time, so you have to give me more time, right? So instead of that, you can probably try talking something like, quality time helps me feel connected. So can we find some small ways of doing that? So again, it's not a
Yeah.
demand. Love language
Yeah. Just
is
put
a, yeah, it's a bridge of empathy. It's not a tool for entitlement. Yeah, so one has to be aware of that. And I think if you just start, I would say start knowing each other's love language and take it up from there.
definitely. I will also add, from now on, since you are aware of I mean, I'm talking to the viewers, you are kind of aware of what matters in a relationship. Please make that effort to know your partner, or, whichever relation it is. Try to understand. It could be your child. First, ask them what they need, what makes them feel loved. Because, like Shilpa, you mentioned, we are just giving kids what we think is right, but they may feel ignored, they may not felt seen. So this adds into their um, adverse experiences in childhood.
Yeah.
So as an adult, they will feel, I never felt loved. They will feel, I was not seen, I never got what I wanted. But if you go ask the parents, they will tell, we gave them everything. I gave them this, I gave them that, I did everything for them. But if the child's love language is not met, definitely they will fall short of those deeper feelings to be rooted inside. So it's very beautiful the way you have explained in simple ways, which will help our viewers make the right decisions, right choices. And go back today, note down what you want to give others and everything. Because love languages remind us that love is not just a feeling, like you mentioned, Shilpa. It is a skill. That is so nice. Because, I mean, everybody doesn't get that. And now with awareness, I'm sure people will make that effort, because this can be developed. So
Yes,
when we learn to speak each other's emotional language, relationships become softer, safer, and deeper. I
absolutely.
hope this discussion about love languages would make you more curious, more proactive, and more loving. With Valentine's Day around the corner, which is what our focus was to bring this out, since it's where we want to start to connect people. If you're planning to celebrate in a meaningful way, I ask all the viewers to tell us by dropping your comments below in under this video. How will you speak your partner's love language from this year on? From all the insights that you gained in the session, share your thoughts below. And thank you, Shilpa, for a beautiful insight. Such a wonderful way to enlighten everybody around. It was very impactful. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Shweta. It was amazing discussing these love languages with you. And to all our viewers, a very happy Valentine's Day. Keep loving each other's and yourself as well.
Well, thank
Thank
you
you.
so much, Shilpa.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.